is me, Mike, and thank you for listening to this podcast. I'm going to be doing a collaboration type of podcast with Motion Flow Studios. So I would be posting a podcast, he would be posting a podcast. These podcasts was made to help you guys out to become a better graphic designer and also learn some new cool tricks in the graphic design field. Alright, so in this topic today, I want to speak to you guys on how to improve as a graphic designer. A lot of times, as a graphic designer, you do need to pull out a sketchbook and usually draw what comes to mind sometimes, because later on, when you're sitting back watching TV or whatever, and then like, man, I had this great idea, and you didn't write it down, or you didn't write that idea down, you didn't sketch it out real quick, even though it was sloppy, as long as you've written it down or put it down somewhere, you can always go back and critique it. So I think that's one of the most important parts as a graphic designer, is to have a sketchbook handy. It doesn't have to be an 8 by 10 or 11 by 14 or something like that. You can even have a pocket size one, like a 3 by 4, one of those little handheld ones that you could buy for like $2 or something in the store. And it doesn't have to be a name brand sketchbook, something compact or whatever like that. I'm actually creating sketchbooks that you guys can buy on my website soon, but I'm not here to advertise about my stuff. I want you guys to improve as a graphic designer on your own. So that's one thing out the park that I want you guys to go ahead and get that if you don't have one on your own. So secondly, to buy books. I know it sounds like you gotta come out of your pocket in order to become a better graphic designer, but it works. Seeing different techniques and other tips and stuff are usually in books. A lot of times people don't always post their tips and blogs and things like that. Well, yeah, there's a lot of websites that are dedicated to graphic design, but to get the better, in a way, reading wise of graphic design books and stuff like Photoshop, or there's a book called Photoshop Visually or something. I forget the name of the book. Anyway, there's so many different types of books that'll help you do graphic design, and I don't particularly mean Photoshop in general, like everything has to be Photoshop, although a lot of graphic design is in Photoshop. There's also Dreamweaver and InDesign and excuse me, my voice sounds raspy. And Illustrator. You wanna look at some of these books to check out what's up to date and everything like that, because when you're in a graphic design field, you have to keep up with the technology and the software that's around you, because who knows, in the next 3 to 5 years the software may change and you may not be able to use these softwares. Your company that you'll be working for may have a different type of software that you need to use, and this is the type of stuff that you need to keep updated on, all the software that's being used in the graphic design field. So be sure to, even if it's like a $10 book on Photoshop or something like that, to increase your Photoshop skills or better create a website with Dreamweaver, pick up one of these books. Go to Barnes and Noble and pick up a book. I have, believe me, I don't have many books. I have about 4 or 5 books, one on Dreamweaver, Illustrator, and Photoshop, and I actually have another separate book on I got 2 different Illustrator books, and I got one Photoshop book and one Dreamweaver book. Now these were like the CS4 editions, because I got it before the CS5 came out, and I don't think I need to buy the CS5 because it's pretty much the same thing, maybe some extra features that I probably won't use in my field as of right now. So definitely buying books will be the best. Just recording something. Alright. Alright, so after you gone ahead and brought your books and studied a little bit, the best thing to do is kind of put those things to test. So create like a fake project. So suppose you was gonna go and look at a Google logo, right? They're always changing their logos. Try to recreate one. Actually, in my Illustrator class, I've recreated the the Google logo and create a Thanksgiving logo. If you guys are a friend of mine on Facebook, you might have seen my concept of a custom Google logo representing a Thanksgiving style, artwork. And I did everything in Dreamweaver, and it's pretty simple. And I may actually go over a tutorial one day in creating that. So basically, create a fake project, create a fake identity for a fake company that you may uh, design a logo for, or stationery, or brochure, or a website, or something like that. You want to stick to something simple first, and then work on the hardest stuff, like web design and things like that. So if you're working on a small business card, you want to do that first, and then work on a logo, which is more intensive, because that's the identity of the company's, whole identity, the whole everything of that company is behind that logo. Whatever that logo is going to be recognized by millions of people, possibly. So you want to make sure your logo, if you're designing one, to make sure it stands out, make sure it's it's recognizable when you may turn away from the computer for X amount of days and go back and look at that logo and be like, oh yeah, that's X company, or that's whatever company you created that logo for. So creating fake projects like that also increases your skills as a graphic designer, a freelance graphic designer. So when you do create a really good logo, stationery, brochure, whatever, and put that into your portfolio that other companies can see and look at your work, they may actually hire you. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, as a graphic designer, this sounds kind of weird, but taking photos is pretty important, because that's how you get around. That's how you explore different areas around you. That'll help you create different type of designs and ideas that come to mind, and how to remake, and things like that. So in graphic design, when you do photography, there's a whole lot of stuff you need to learn, like value and contrast and shapes and lines and perspective and emphasis and everything. So you want to take that in mind when you're doing photography, because you may be a graphic designer and also a photographer. You may do somebody's wedding photos and need to critique it and edit it and everything in Photoshop. All these stuff come hand in hand. One thing helps out another thing. So taking photos is a good practice of becoming a good graphic designer as well. Okay, I feel like I'm talking a lot. It's going into 8 minutes. Alright, so what's another good thing to do? You don't have to go all out on this. Is create a cool design blog. Basically a design blog, or it can even be a prototype website. Just adding some stuff up there and just seeing how you can create and design a website that'll appeal to others, to actually help them view your website and your work, so you get exposed more. So anyway, a design blog would probably be like a blog to help others be aware of different type of artworks that's emerging. And everybody's posting their artwork online and everything now. So when you Google, let's say, an apple, there may be thousands of different forms of different type of apples and different effects to that apple, and everything. Okay, sorry about that. I had some trouble with some stuff. Yeah, anyway. So after you finish creating your design blog, next thing you should do is network with other designers, and also visit some different art museum and art galleries, and kind of get your mind set on different type of artworks and different things you can try to recreate or make on your own, things like that. So that way you'll be better with creating different type of artwork. So that includes traveling to different, if you have it, going to different states, or within your own neighborhood, wherever there's a museum or different art classes, things like that. You should look into to doing, and like I said, interview other graphic designers. I actually am looking at this website with a bunch of these tips that I'm discussing with you now, where it goes more in detail of what you should be looking for and improving in yourself. This website is called thedesigncubicle.com. I kind of came across it a little while ago, and I want to bring it back up because it's really helpful, and it really states good ideas, different points that you should take as a graphic designer. So I'm not going to go too much detail on this. I'll put the link in the video description for this website. But like I said, this is going to be some good and helpful tips on improving your creativity as a graphic designer, and hopefully improving your skills and doing better things as a graphic designer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and more helpful podcasts in the future. And please subscribe to Blue Mike 155 on YouTube, as well as Motion Flow Studios. And I'll catch you guys later. Be creative. Peace.